Hello, my fellow readers. Today I am going to be doing my second quarterly review. So this will be all of the books that I have read between April and June. So I have read now, from January through June, I have read 338 books, with 203 of those books being between April and June. Now, a lot of those are manga. For instance, this quarter, I got through all of Pandora Hearts, and so that's 24 books to get through. But of course, manga doesn't take as long to read as a regular book, especially not like, say, a Brandon Sanderson book. Still, that being said, I have read a lot of traditional books as well, and I will be showing you shortly what that looks like on Goodreads. Before I get to that and showing you all that I did read between April and June, I just wanted to highlight my top picks that I read during this time. So my most honorable mentions, or the books that I really, really enjoyed from this time period, would be number one, Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. And I sort of wish that I had done a review on this book. I read this one, and then I actually went through like a phase where I read like all of the Mary Kubica books. It was intense and so delightful. So if you're looking for a good series of thrillers to get into, then I would recommend her books. Local Woman Missing was the one that started it. It's her newest book, and I actually found it to be the best one. It could just be my opinion, so maybe give her other ones a try. But Local Woman Missing opens with this young girl who escapes from this home and gets found, and she gives a name about who she is, and then slowly the story gets revealed about how this young girl went missing years ago, and how her mother ended up dead. And part of the story is whether or not this young girl is indeed that young girl who went missing, but then also what happened all of those years ago to the other woman, the mother of the girl who went missing. And I don't know, it was very engaging and emotionally driven. It was so good. There's so much that happens in the story, and I don't want to give it away, but it's worth a read. If you like thrillers and mysteries, then I would recommend giving this one a read. Some of the other books that I really enjoyed, one that I did do a review on, so I'm not going to talk too much on it, but is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. That would be my top nonfiction recommendation of this time period. Just that whole human element from The Anthropocene Reviewed just made it so good. I would so highly recommend everybody either read or listen to that book. It was so good. I also very much enjoyed Kate in Waiting, which I also reviewed, by Becky Albertalli. That whole musical theater aspect, the friend aspect of the book, so much of it. That was a very good read. Loved the characters. My top pick for fantasy was probably Dreamer's Pool by Juliette Marillier. I'm gonna say her name wrong. There's a whole discussion about like how to say the last name, because I believe in French it is Marie, but her husband is from Australia and they've been there for generations, so they don't say it the French way. Anyway, every time I read it, I want to say it a different way from how it should be. But I really enjoy her books, and this series that starts with Dreamer's Pool is called Blackthorn and Grimm, and those are like the two main characters, and they just have this great relationship. And the books themselves are kind of like retellings of folk and fairy tales, which she often does in her work. So I also really loved her Seven Waters books, and there's sort of mention of that series in this series, and anyway, I'd highly recommend it. She also has a very good YA series, but for this quarter, I read the Blackthorn and Grimm series, and I really liked it, and it starts with Dreamer's Pool. Next, let's see. So we've done a great thriller, we've done a great nonfiction, we've done a great fantasy, we've done a YA contemporary, I'm going to throw out a romance in there. I really enjoyed Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. I believe that's the author. I just thought that that one was so cute. And I think there's a second book, like a companion book, coming out soon. I don't think it's released yet. I'm going to have to check that. But it was really great. It sort of blended that fandom aspect with the famous person. I don't know, I can't explain it, but it was really good. It was really, I mean, I could explain it, but I don't want to because then you sort of give stuff away. But it was really good. It was really sweet. So if you're looking for just a cute contemporary romance, I would recommend that one. What else did I enjoy? Oh, a recent one, which is not out yet, so I'm just going to put the alert out for this one. I believe it's coming out in November, but it is called Dreams Lie Beneath. At least at this point, it's called Dreams Lie Beneath. It's Rebecca Ross's upcoming work. She did the Queen's Rising series, and then also the Sisters of Sword and Song, if I'm getting the title correct, which I did a review on that one. So she has a new book coming out, I believe this November, of the title Dreams Lie Beneath, and it was super good. So even though I got to read the arc of it, I would highly recommend just noting that one as a to be read. It was really good. It's a fantasy series that it's just super good. I don't want to give it all away. I'm going to talk about this book actually in another video, but essentially in this world, there are people who like record dreams, and they sort of oversee the town to make sure that everybody is safe, because essentially a certain dream will get chosen to like come true, and so these people help to stop any bad occurrences that might have happened in the dream from becoming real. And since the task only belongs to like one person, you can essentially travel to that town, challenge that person with your magical abilities and put them out of a job and take over that position. And that is essentially the setup for what happens here, where our main character, she's sort of like the apprentice to her dad, although it's not like, I think she is the apprentice, but if she reaches a certain point, she becomes the partner. And her dad is currently ill, and these two brothers come to town and they challenge him, and they end up winning, which sort of throws her life for a loop, but she decides that she's going to have revenge on what happened, and it sets up the whole thing. It was just a very interesting magic system. I liked the in-world folklore that is set up there, which might be more than just a story. It's a really good book. I would highly recommend that one. Again, it doesn't come out till November of 2021. I believe it's November. Definitely the fall. So mark it on your to be read notes, however you keep them, whether you write them or keep them on Goodreads, wherever. Write that one down. It's so good. And then lastly, 2 manga that I will recommend. The first is The Maggots of the Library, which I am just into now. I just finished volume 2. I super loved it. Technically, volume 2 I finished in July, but volume 1 I finished in June. But it has me hooked so far. It's really great if you love books and if you love libraries. This really highlights the beauty of it, but also if you're that kind of person that loves like protecting books and are a bookish person, you'll probably like this. And also it's got some cool magic elements to it, so I'm really enjoying that one. And then the other series would be Pandora Hearts. And Pandora Hearts, how do I talk about this? Pandora Hearts is the kind of series that a lot of people will actually be put off by when they first start reading it, because there's a lot that gets thrown at you. And it's all very confusing. There's like time shifts, there's a weird parallel world, there's wondering who is good and who's bad and what the heck is going on. And it can get very confusing. And there were parts where even I was kind of like This is why I put the series down like years ago and didn't pick it back up. But this time I powered through and I finished it, and I'm so glad that I did, because especially by like the midpoint of the series, it starts to explain everything, and in such a great way. It becomes very engaging. There's a lot of dark stuff that happens in this series. It's not just a lighthearted series. There's a lot of darkness. And there are times where you are still like, who is the good guy and who's the bad guy and what is happening. And you really have to keep with it until the very end to get it all actually laid out for you. But it's well worth the journey. I liked the characters. I liked the story. This was actually a manga series that I wanted to read after watching the anime, which did not complete the story. I'm like, okay, anime, you're great, but what happens? What's the rest of it? And I would actually recommend the anime. It was very good, but I did like the manga series a little bit more because you do get that completed story, and you get to see how that all works out. And I found it so worth it, and it was so good. And yeah, definitely by the last couple of volumes, you'll probably feel like crying or literally cry, but it's so worth it. And so those are probably my top picks. Even though I've read so much, I'm going to narrow it down to just them. That I would say, if you have to choose, what would I highly recommend? Those would be them. So it's a nice variety. I didn't read any horror really this time. Just closest would be thrillers. But yeah, now I'm going to pass it over to my other self and just show you what the books were on Goodreads. So I cannot believe that half of 2021 is already over, and I'm doing my second quarterly review of the books that I've read. But here is everything that I've read from April to June. And they start here with You Have a Match. So everything from here over is what I've read from April on. And sometimes it is very hard for me to believe that I've read through this many books. Most of what I've read, I've been very happy with. I don't see any that, I was thoroughly disappointed in. There's been a couple I've been not a huge fan of, but a lot of the books that I've gone through have been really good, and I would recommend reading. So if you see any through this quick review that you're interested in, I would say, yeah, go ahead and give it a read, because you're probably going to like it. It's interesting this cover didn't go through. Oh, that's because this is an upcoming publication, so they might not have the cover finalized yet. This was an arc that I read, and it will be released, I think, this November, so that's why that's just a G. But yeah, here's a few of the books that I've read, and yeah, I liked all of these. Also, this is pretty amazing for half the year to already be at 335. Again, this is between graphic novels, like my fabulous manga, and full-length books. But yeah, I'm pleased with this. So there were all my recent reads. I'll be back, of course, after the next quarter of the year is done. Oh my gosh, I can't even... there's probably going to be more horror books then, because once the fall starts coming, then I start reading my horror books. I'm actually looking forward to that. I hope there's a good horror release this year. I look forward to seeing what I work out of reading this year. beyond that, you can share with me below. Have you read any of these books? What are you reading? I always like seeing what other people are reading, especially if it's really good. If it is really good, let me know. Then I can let you know whether or not I've read it, and my opinion is, because I've read a lot. Or I will just thank you for the recommendation, because I'm always looking for the next great read as well. So that is it for this video. Until next time, bye.